special event alert.
Put down that third drink and run, because you are late for Changeover, your weekly space news and variety show. I'm your host, Marty Smith, and I'm joined by Mr. History, Eric Perrott.
Fellas, how are you?
And our man in the closet, Jake Wall.
What's going on, guys? Good to see you again.
We're here to bring you the latest headlines and updates pertinent to all Guardians and to the other lesser services as well. So take your seats, get informed, and have a laugh as we present Late for Changeover.
Have we gotten poked in the eye for lesser services yet?
No, I'm trying to. There was a time I kept wanting to say something more and more offensive just to see if anybody would chime in. But nobody ever did, so I was like, forget it. So
You never stepped up your game, though.
no, I never really did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I should say lower branches or something.
Oh.
I'll try that next time.
My
You guys all good?
services.
Fresh off the eclipse? No,
fresh off
no
the eclipse.
hijinks or nothing.
Dude, I thought it
I
was
got something
magical.
going on here.
I was home working that day, and I with all the eclipse talk, but I kind of forgot about it because I think it was like 12:30 or somewhere around there that it was passing over Denver, and I was like, "Fuck, it's getting dark out there." Yeah, that clouds were coming, but it never really got dark. It just like big cloud cover. It looked like.
You know, the news showed a walking path from space, and it looked like
right,
solid black
right.
moon tracking. That was pretty damn cool. That was cool.
But there was only a few areas that got 100% or 90 something percent. Right?
Well,
I
the
don't
next
know.
one in 2044, I'll only be 90 something. So
I think
I'll watch that.
well, lunar eclipses are a lot more entertaining, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, those are the better ones, huh?
Yeah, those are better ones.
Okay.
Where you go out drinking.
Well, you can just stare at them, too.
Yeah,
Howl
you
at the
can.
moon.
Yeah.
There's no repercussions for this.
Did you ever hear that Brian Regan thing when he was talking about being a kid doing dumb shit outside? He was like, "All right, Brian, it's your turn for the sun stare. Jimmy got 5. You got to break the record of 5 at the sun stare."
Genius.
Yep.
Yeah, shit was funny. All right, let's start off with space. Okay, space and cars.
Cars in space.
Cars in space. So NASA has now, I think it was last week, but NASA selects 3 companies to advance Artemis lunar rover designs. So Artemis is NASA's Apollo program, now back to the moon. So it's Artemis. I don't know why it's Artemis.
Artemis.
Probably should have looked that up, but that was more effort than I was willing to make. But NASA has down selected to 3 companies to work on lunar rover concepts that would be offered as a service for Artemis lunar landings and scientific activities. NASA announced April 3rd it picked teams led by Intuitive Machines, Lunar Outpost, and Venturi Astrolab.
Some pretty cool names.
Yeah.
For the companies.
For its Lunar Terrain Vehicle Services contract. The contract covers work to design and develop rovers that would be used by astronauts on Artemis missions, starting with Artemis 5. I don't know what, I think they're on 2, I think. 3 is coming up, I'm not sure. The rovers would be provided by the companies to NASA as a service in much the same way the agency is procuring spacesuits and lunar landers, while the primary purpose of the Lunar Terrain Vehicle, or LTV, will be to transport astronauts across the lunar surface. NASA expects to also teleoperate the rover, allowing it to perform scientific investigations when astronauts are not present.
The ultimate backseat driver.
Kind of, yeah. Or maybe if they're in there and the guy at Houston is like, "These guys are driving. Oh, I'm taking control." They're like,
it.
"Yay!" It's like you're
Exactly.
you're in the driver's ed car and you can't drive. It's like,
Yeah. Come on, guys.
you just got 2 guys sitting all depressed.
I'm curious. Power sources for that thing, I'm assuming, are just batteries.
I think so. Yeah.
Because you can't put fuel in space, and you can't do
Well, not in the traditional sense of fuel. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, they can.
That's where I
do-
was going.
Yeah, different things. But anyway, do you guys want to? In fact, one of your questions will be answered by a video. So,
Oh.
first up is
Oh,
lunar.
we got videos
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah.
I like videos.
First up is
Nice.
lunar outpost version called Lunar Dawn. So that's Lunar Dawn's version. That's pretty slick.
Pretty
looking,
damn
right?
cool, man.
You know, it's hard to not look at any of these rovers without thinking of the Martian. You know, and all the shit that he did in his rover, right? He put a nuclear device in his rover
Oh,
to
yeah.
stay warm.
It's funny how in this picture the moon looks like it's a road.
Yeah, right. And I probably should have recorded that video. They have one where I think it was the original guys that landed on the moon. They were driving the rover around, and it was bouncing. It was bouncing like crazy, but the surface wasn't flat like that. The surface was more
joyriding.
Yeah, yeah. And every time they kind of hit like a wave, kind of, and that whole thing would bounce in the air. I was like,
You would think the tires would be less than
Yeah,
slick.
Eric wants some better suspension.
And
okay.
some better tires.
All
Like, I
right.
need
Put some
better
tires
tires.
on it.
Yeah.
Put some white walls on it.
Are you dual
Make it-
exhaust? Give me some overhead
Dual
lighting.
exhaust.
Some overhead lighting.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
get into some of these versions, right? So this one
So
is
far.
lunar. This one is Lunar Dawn,
I'm disappointed
made by
with
Lunar
Dawn.
Outpost. A startup currently working on 4 small robotic rovers is leading a team called Lunar Dawn that includes Lockheed Martin, MDA Space, General Motors, and Goodyear.
Wow.
While Lockheed and MDA Space will provide expertise in spacecraft design and robotics, GM will offer battery and related automotive technologies, and Goodyear will provide tires. So, let's see the produced movie.
I'm sure that one will have green.
Sorry, that's so
That's-
damn loud.
yeah.
That's crazy loud.
Whoa,
They have a-
peeling
they-
out.
Hey, man.
They have a really funny line in this, and I'll stop it. It's good music, though. Got that synth going.
Oh, yeah.
And conduct
More
science.
science.
Do more science. Science the shit out of it, as Teapot would say.
Yeah. What-
Yeah, operate remotely.
They definitely need to beef up that suspension.
Yeah, right?
It's fast. I mean, it's hard to read all that, but okay, yeah, that's fine for a first entry.
Is the cab enclosed?
I don't know.
Yeah, you got to
Can't
feel the
quite
breeze.
tell. And
Looks
that's
like
where,
it's an open.
and that's what I'm talking about when you're thinking of the Martian. You're thinking of his rover,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I don't know. But
That
some of
was
these
a-
others are definitely not. So
Good rendition.
that was Lunar Dawn. Next up is Intuitive Machines version called Moon Racer. Now,
Oh.
Racer, I was like, whoa, because if you look at this thing, that looks like
hey
a
now.
Formula One car, right, or something like that.
Bond, James Bond.
Yeah, it does look
Yeah.
like a racer, but actually,
That's cool.
Racer is an acronym.
Oh, great.
I know. Intuitive Machines is leading a team called Moon Racer, or Reusable Autonomous Crewed Exploration Rover, RACER. That includes AVL and Michelin from the automotive industry, and Boeing and Northrop Grumman. The lander would be delivered on a Nova D lander that Intuitive Machines is building, a larger version of the Nova C lander that it landed on the moon in February. So they've already been there. I mean, Intuitive Machines
Yeah.
is like really into this thing. So they didn't even produce a video for this thing. And I was like, yeah,
That's
that's pretty cocky.
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll give you a movie poster.
Because I wanted to see more of that. That
Yeah.
looks. I mean, I don't know how practical it is. It looks.
Do they have any videos of the current, what they're doing up there now?
No. Well, they do of the lander, but they
Yeah.
don't have any of the rover. So
Tires
Lastly,
even look like they're slicks on this
I
thing, man.
know. It's like
Sweet.
Smoke them.
that looks badass, but it looks crazy non-practical for. I mean, if you're up there, you're like, "Hey, this is a good-looking car. Where do we put our cargo?" And they're like, "Oh, we didn't make any space for that.
You mean
ruined
science?
it ruined the lines."
Yeah. Nothing
So,
on the roof.
lastly, Venturi Astrolab is offering its Flex rover. So that's a flex. Now look,
Flex.
look at
Oh
this.
my gosh.
That's
man.
the Lunar Dawn. That's the Moon Racer.
That's like
And there we got the Flex.
We went to Legos, man. We built that with Legos.
It's so disappointing, right?
Oh my God.
you know what's funny though is the Flex is probably fully functional and good to go and half the price,
Yeah, probably.
and the other ones are just
Outrageous.
I
research
agree with
pictures.
You.
That's it.
And they've got a movie on this one too. So,
Oh, God, I'm excited about this.
Venturi
Looks like a
Astrolab
Horse and
is
buggy, man.
off. I know it does.
It looks cheesy.
It looks like they put it together in a garage. It's like, put this one on there. Put
Borrow
this
your
thing
kid-
on.
Probably what the other twos are going to end up looking like, though.
Could be. But wait till you see the video that Venturi Astrolab provided. This is a robotic version of which it plans to send to the moon on a SpaceX Starship mission in late 2026. It is working with Axiom Space and Odyssey Space Research on its LTV award. So let's look at the video for the flexion. You might change your mind.
So they got like tires look kind of cool too.
Yeah, but little bitty tires. But look,
Oh
you know,
man, it looks like it's for the King and Queen of England.
When SpaceX launches
Like a
its
carriage,
mission
yeah.
scheduled for
Yeah.
2026, it'll be
But
accompanied
this thing
by
looks
Venturi Astrolab's
super
flexible
functional,
logistics
though.
and exploration.
Yeah, it's
Flex
probably already
Rover,
way
the
ahead of
largest, most
R&D.
capable rover
Yeah, it could
to
be.
ever travel to the moon. Previous planetary rovers
So it carries
were
its
bespoke
own solar
vehicles
panels
custom
with it.
designed for specific missions. Not so the Flex rover, whose increased versatility is a function of its
It
unique
just looks so
modular design.
boring.
Yes, it
Flex's
does.
design means it can be fitted with an unpressurized two-person crew interface that can be removed to make room for more cargo. And its robotic arm can be used for taking
Okay.
samples and performing
I
scientific
think the
and
arm was
logistical
in the
activities.
autonomous drive.
Adaptive suspension keeps the
Oh,
rovers
now
balanced
that's
and
cool.
in harsh
There you
terrain.
go.
Ah,
Crab
see,
walking.
that's
Hazard
cool.
detection
So
sensors
if it has to
assist
parallel
with
park.
semi-autonomous operations, and a
Had you
deployable
a
solar
crab
panel array
walking.
points itself towards the sun to ensure Flex's internal batteries stay
So many other
charged.
It was on
vehicles.
the fence.
Moreover,
It's
the
gonna
So
most
squeeze
it's
somebody
powerful
all
up.
Flex can
wheels.
carry a combined rover and cargo mass of over 2 tons, which
2
is almost
tons?
3 times more than its largest predecessor. The rover
That's
is
pretty
also
good.
geared for establishing infrastructure and specialized
I
systems
don't know
on
what
the
this
moon's
video
surface,
portrays,
fitting with
this part
Astrolab's
right
vision
here.
Well,
of
we're-
assisting in
There's
the
a
Lighting.
creation
rock.
of a permanent
We
human
can see the
colony,
Lighting on the
rock.
arm, man.
on the
That's
moon
cool.
and then on Mars. Flex's
Well, we're
ability
working
to
on
collect,
getting to the dark side of the
transport,
moon,
and deploy
right?
large
Well,
payloads
that's why they're
autonomously
trying-
is
right.
indispensable to Starship.
What is she doing?
Fully reusable transportation spacecraft.
I want to see her boots.
The challenging
She's like-
terrain of the California desert
She's
has
Is he out of the
prepared
restaurant
ground
yet?
for full-scale testing of the Flex's functions, which
It is.
began in 2022 and is ongoing. Astrolab's team of
Hydraulics.
industry-leading
Look at
Wow,
that.
that's cool,
rover
man.
and robotics
But
experts
you know what?
has
You know what
tested
else
both crew
I think
and
about that? It's
telerobotic
like when I buy a new
operations,
car. It's like,
deployed
oh
a
look,
variety
it's
of
got
hefty
power,
payloads,
everything.
undertaken
that stuff's
science
gonna break.
operations using the
It's all
robotic
gonna
arm,
break. All
and
those
performed
little
engineering testing of
servos and
Flex's mobility.
gyros.
Reusable
I
transportation spacecraft.
love this.
Payload semi-autonomously
'Cause
makes
what
it
is she looking at?
indispensable to Starship. SpaceX's fully
Where did he
reusable
go?
transportation spacecraft.
There's a bad guy around the
The
corner
challenge
She's
hiding.
is
Well,
just-
she's conducting the science, guys. She's conducting science.
I love when we turn science
looking
into
at
like a
things.
verb.
Yeah, doing science.
It's very actionable.
I
But
think it looks
it's-
pretty cool, though.
Oh, I agree. I just love.
So geared for
It's
just love
probably
that
more
part.
realistic than the other ones.
Functionality wise, yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
But I mean, if you could get in that moon racer, I'd be like, okay, take pictures of me in this. You know? Hey, did you science your experiments? And I'm like, oh no, not at all. We just
I was
drove
running
around.
that movie.
We
We're
set a
just going to go
track up.
really fast from that side to that side.
We set a track.
Yeah. Just yelling science the whole time. Science!
burn
That's
out your
awesome.
name. Go burn out your name, and it'll be
Yeah.
there forever. Be there forever.
Don't
That's
draw a dick,
awesome.
though. I'm telling you, don't draw a dick. We got in trouble last time.
They'll know who did it.
The overall, what does LTV stand for again?
Lunar.
Lunar terrain vehicle. So the overall LTV or lunar terrain vehicle services contract has a maximum value of $4.6 billion over 15 years,
Man,
just to make that car.
Wow.
that's a good one.
Shit! I forgot the little banner headline.
Oh,
See, I make these. I have a couple of beers in me, and I'm like, "Oh, this will be so good." Yeah, and you should see me at 6:00. I'm so excited for this show at 6:00. And then we start talking, and by 8:26, as it is
We're
right now, I'm like,
toasted.
I forgot half the shit I was going to say.
perfect.
That's
good for
why
you.
we're still amateurs, or I'm still amateur.
We are still amateurs.
You guys are
but
good psychics. You
We're
guys are making
amateurs.
very good psychics.
Psychics.
Now for this next story,
Taco.
we kind of covered the like pre-story to this weeks ago.
Oh,
Because if you remember the story how we did the Space Force is looking at part-time, full-time thing, and it's like how
Yeah,
the F
yeah.
is that going to work, right?
Mm.
And it's like they're talking about part-timers they're talking all about part-timers without trying really hard not to say guard or reservists. Right?
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, they won't be on the floor, so they'll be part-time. It's like, are you paying them part-time, or are they just part-time doing the job, but they're still getting full pay? Because that's the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if the banners things will work.
Boing. Look at that.
Yeah, I gotta have it. You're like very right above it.
Okay.
Just your head is floating above it.
Yeah.
Oh,
banner.
So from military.com, the Air Force is doing this. The Air Force proposes bypassing governors in 7 states to move guard units into the Space Force. So as we know, or as we've covered before, the whole new ND National Defense and all that stuff with Space Force is that they're not going to have guard.
Right.
They never really have mentioned reservists either, but they definitely have a hard on for not having guard. So even though they talk part-time, full-time, which I know they haven't thought that through. They just want to throw that out, but I know they haven't thought it through.
And just with that caption, I'm trying to understand the advantage to the Air Force. What's the advantage?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
That's the strange part.
Because it's such a small amount. It's only like 1,000
It would
people.
have to be, right, all the deployable or some random stuff like that, space guys. They could flex.
I just don't know what they got against having a guard. You know, it just makes sense. Unless they just want to keep it an all federal mission. All right.
I can see that.
Do the Marines have guard?
They have reserve. I don't know if they have guard, though.
I don't think they do. I don't think so.
Because I know there's Marine reserves, but I don't know if there's guard.
Because we're based kind of on that, right? Space Force is based kind of on that model.
I would love to yell at a producer. It's like, hey, look that up. But
it's too much work.
I'm looking for you.
Oh.
Air Force officials have submitted a legislative proposal. And this is what I think is kind of, if it wasn't for the National Guard Association, we would have never had this story and we would have never been talking about it. So, but they have submitted, the Air Force has submitted legislative proposal to Congress that would sidestep governors in 7 states and move Air National Guard units with space missions into the Space Force, which angers National Guard supporters, of course. The National Guard Association of the United States, which is a Washington, D.C. based lobbying organization that goes by NGAUS, National Guard Association of the United States, said in a statement to military.com that draft legislation approved March 15th by Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall seeks to bypass the long-standing requirement in federal law for the Pentagon to obtain a governor's consent before transferring a National Guard unit to another branch of the military. Currently, there are approximately 1,000 Air National Guardsmen. So we're not talking about 2, 3, 10,000 people. We're talking about 1,000.
Yeah.
Across 14 units operating space-related missions in Alaska, California, Colorado, Florida, Hawaii, New York, and Ohio. New York.
That's
One in
interesting.
New
They're right
York.
there.
The draft legislative proposal submitted to Congress, which was reviewed by military.com, is titled Transfer to the Space Force of Covered Space Functions of the Air National Guard of the United States. It would change the status of the unit from a unit of the National Guard of the United States to a unit of the United States Space Force, deactivate the unit, or assign the unit a new federal mission. National Guard Association officials said the new proposal was submitted to Congress with the hopes of it being included in the 2025 National Defense Authorization Act, which will be crafted by the House and Senate in the coming months. The proposal seeks to waive Section 104 of Title 32, which says no change in the branch, organization, or allotment of a unit located entirely within a state may be made without the approval of its governor. It also seeks to waive Section 18238 of Title 10 of the U.S. Code, which says that National Guard units may not be relocated or withdrawn under this chapter without the consent of the governor of the state.
It's got a lot of responsibility with these things, man.
Well, yeah, that's his force.
Yeah.
You know, that's or his or her. That's the governor's force. On Wednesday, Colorado, last Wednesday, Colorado Governor Jared Polis publicized the letter he wrote to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin criticizing the proposed Air Force plan. He said, quote, I will continue to oppose any involuntary removals of Colorado Air National Guard space units and personnel, as well as any reductions to the Colorado National Guard's force structure. This direct override of gubernatorial authority to exercise control over the units that are permanently based or removed from the respective states flies in the face of over 120 years of military tradition, organizational structure, and efficacy and precedent. So good on Governor Polis.
Yeah, I would have
Right.
never thought that would have come from him.
Well, no. Yeah, right. But, you know, Polis a business guy. He understands the workings of it. I don't know. It just seems really, I mean, if they pulled National Guard units, what would stop them from pulling Army National Guard units over
what's
to go
the benefit of states having the National Guard?
Well,
Like, do they get federal
Emergency
incentives,
response?
or I mean,
Absolutely.
is that it?
They get federal money.
Space is odd, right? If you had an infantry National Guard, okay, you can see. Well, yeah, if we ever got in a civil war, at least I got my National Guard, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, is there a fiscal benefit for a state to have Guard? Do they get money from the federal? Do they?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's
Other
federal
than
money.
random people to support missions, but
I
then
think
those missions are not
right.
They have to be assigned to an active unit, though.
Monetarily, I think monetarily it hurts the state to have a guard because I think all that money comes out of the state. It doesn't come out of federal.
I thought it was federal. They get supported by federal funding. I bet they do.
To a certain degree. That's what that one guy who had that bill proposal to stop pulling National Guard units for all these deployments. Yeah. And he said because the National Guard is taxed out, you know, they didn't sign up to go fight these missions. But the reason the bill keeps dying is because the states know that if they pull their guard, they're going to compensate them with money. So the states are like, I hate to turn that money off. So,
hey, Marty, that squadron in New York is actually in Rome, New York, the 222nd Command and Control Squadron.
Over at AFRL.
Oh, no kidding. Command and Control.
Yeah, so they provide the NRO.
Nice.
And at the National Reconnaissance Office Operations Center with augmentees to assist Space Command and NRO ops.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool.
So, Rome, New York.
By the way, Marty, the Marines do not have a guard force.
It's just reserves, right? Yeah, it's just reserves.
Marine Corps Reserve is critical to the Corps' ability to provide a balanced, prepared force. Marines in the reserves go through the same intense training and work in the same MOSs as their active duty counterparts.
Well, sure, and it's and they're paid federal.
Yeah,
I think Guard pays state. I really do. I think the state's.
I thought they were right. Yeah. I thought the Guard.
I think the state's responsible for the pensions and all that stuff. So, but I don't know.
Are they really?
I don't know. National Guard, NGAUS officials have estimated that this is their counter back to Air Force and Space Force. They're saying that they've estimated that creating a space National Guard will cost only about $250,000, saying the majority of that cost is replacing uniform name tapes, unit flags, and base signage. That's all they got to do. But there's a government budget office that's like, no, this is going to be $500 million and up. It's like, what? For 1,000 people?
We got to change all the signs.
Yeah, right.
How much money did we spend on changing signs last year?
Oh, all those politically correct bases or forts and all that stuff.
Yeah,
it was millions. It was in the millions, I think. Right?
Yeah, it was. I thought it was like double-digit millions just to change all the signs.
Yeah, just to change
to appease somebody, and that's
But don't you feel fresher in the country now, Eric? Don't you feel more justified and righteous?
I hate the fact that they changed the name more than I hate space.
Whoa, that's a bold statement.
It's a lot of hatred in that, man.
A lot of
See how red I'm turning?
You need to refill that coffee mug.
So ridiculous.
You go pump some reps out, man. You got a lot of, have you let your blood? Have you testosterone levels too high?
I'm on my blood pressure medicine. We're good. It's just, I can tolerate it.
Marty, it's been too long since he's been on a cruise or something. He's getting stressed out.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah.
16 April, baby.
Is that the next one?
Yeah, we're going to Phoenix.
Oh, but it's not a cruise.
Not a cruise.
Right.
Not a cruise.
A desert cruise in Phoenix.
Yeah, I got to go play some golf in the old desert.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like a little trip.
Like, that's why I hate you. Not because you were security forces. I hate you because you managed your money well.
It worked.
Curse you, motherfucker.
It worked.
All right, last story. What is going on with the Navy? I mean, really, as I peruse these stories every week, it's like, oh, they fired this guy, like fired this woman, and like, holy shit. Well, it seems like the Navy gets a lot of press for this, but we'll find out in a second that maybe it's not as unusual as we think it is. From military.com, Navy fires the head of its only South American command. The Navy has relieved the commanding officer of its only command in South America, Captain Abigail Yablonsky Martyr. The commander of the Naval Medical Research Unit South, or NAMRU, was relieved by Captain Franca Jones, the commander of the Naval Medical Research Command, quote, due to a loss of confidence in her ability to command. That's always
the reason. Loss of confidence.
Lots of confidence.
I like how the Navy just calls it out. They're like, no.
It didn't work.
I mean, you remember when I was thinking about this just the other day. It might have been just today. And when Trump was in office, due to his poor picks or his frustration, whatever it is. I mean, he was firing people like he was on like on his TV show. It was like, this guy's out. Oh, this guy's out. Has Biden fired anybody? I don't think this administration has let anybody go. But Trump, it was like every couple months. It was like, new Secretary of Defense in. Let's see. Well,
even BO went through quite a few people.
He did too. Yeah, you're right. Not like Trump,
just throughout the years.
You heard about
like Trump.
Him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You heard about him, but I don't hear anybody getting fired out of this administration. So.
Well, and with Trump, it always appeared that that person didn't agree with whatever was going on at that moment in time. And so
I think when they know, like the day before, and they're like, "Hey, he's going to fire your ass," I was like, let me start getting my anti-Trump shit together because I could make a few bucks on the side.
He'd throw it out on Twitter, man. Like that, come on. Yeah. You can't fucking fire somebody like that.
He was real
you can't
life.
Fire somebody like that.
Man.
Yeah, you can't do that at fucking McDonald's.
That's right. That's right.
At the very top, going,
like,
you suck. You're out.
He's
like,
gone.
Oh, yeah,
he's
gone.
Dude.
He's gone. Now,
come on.
I think as citizen, you're like, good. Get somebody in there who's doing a job. But after a period of time, it was like, are you making the right choices on these people? Because you're firing everybody. So,
You
I
have
hope he does.
nobody left.
Let's fire all of Congress next. They all got to go, man.
Well, I mean,
I think
Fired.
that's
You're all
within
fired.
his control.
you know,
Sons of bitches can't do
the
a
president
job.
who could ever get him to vote on a term limit thing, that
Mm.
guy will.
Oh,
He should
man.
post carve his face up in a
Right.
Mount Rushmore,
Rushmore.
because that is. Anyway, Navy officials have previously said the sea service relieved. Wait a second. Captain Martyr, is the 6th firing of a Navy commanding officer in 2024, and we're just in the 4th month.
Already.
Yeah.
Man.
However, Navy officials have previously said they have relieved 15 commanding officers in 2023.
Wow.
There are currently around 1,600 commanding officers in the active duty Navy across all communities. So I was like, is that high? I don't know. I mean, because I have no frame of reference, because I don't know how many people they're firing out of the Army. I don't know,
The other services.
any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I went and did a search. I actually searched, why is the Navy firing so many commanders?
Because they're useless.
And this website came up, American Grit. And I think that's that's that T-shirt company's website. What's the classic T-shirt one with the Grunt Style? Yeah, I think it's Grunt Style's website.
Yep.
So
Military cosplay.
I like that better.
I do give Grunt Style credit, because when they first came out, those shirts were everywhere, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were almost like bedazzled jeans for a little while. It's like, oh shit, everybody's got a Grunt Style shirt, you know?
See, Jake was afraid I was going to say something like, well, they were fired because they weren't black.
Oh, Navy. Yeah. Good call. I gave you a shout out in the interview we did the other day.
If we don't get any comments for one of the most controversial things you've ever said on this show, I think we're safe. I think we're good. Yeah. And maybe somebody who's watching is like, hey, did you really fucking say that?
You son of a bitch.
And he's like, I should comment. And he's like, nah, forget it.
Did you leave that portion of that in that interview when I threw that at Eric?
I think that part made it.
Yeah,
I think that part made it in there. So
yeah,
great.
Well, Keith's a very large, he's like.
Oh, I didn't tell you,
6'7"?
Eric. I went down to Jake's American Legion, post 101, right? And his good friend was a Army Sergeant First Class that retired. Keith, is it Mathis? I think it's Francis. Sorry, Keith Francis.
The big toe.
Yeah, so we sat down there and talked. He was air defense.
Oh, cool.
So he went all through the Stinger training and all that other stuff. It was pretty cool. But he was radar. He worked the radar side of the air defense.
Okay.
And we sat down there and just, I mean, it was half of it was like a really good interview, and then it just evolved into us drinking and telling stories. So we kind of salvaged it at the end. But yeah, it's a great guy to listen to. It was fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
To listen to that one.
So I'll publish that hopefully tomorrow. Okay, so if that number seems high, 15 commanding officers relieved in 2023. I went out and found this piece out on AmericanGrit.com. It was back from January. And they said another piece to the puzzle is why such a high number were fired in 2023. The complicated answer is that number isn't high at all. From 2011 to 2022, an average of 17 commanders per year have been, quote, administratively reassigned for various often unstated reasons. Wow. So the Navy, this is habit for the Navy. They're just like 6 by April. Okay, we're right on track.
We don't need to worry about 2 years change your assignment. We're just going to fire you.
It's wild.
They don't ever report like what?
No.
The justification? It just says.
For the most part, occasionally there are some that's like misuse funds or sexual assault, whatever it is. But if they really want to keep it quiet, they say due to a loss of confidence in their ability to be. So, all right, Navy, I guess good on you. I don't know. Maybe that also calls into question your selection process. Yeah. Or if you're relieving 17 of those a year. It's like
maybe they're actually just like don't accept mediocre commanders.
But they were good enough.
Some of the other branches do.
Sure, I wholeheartedly agree with that. But at the same time, they did make it through the process. And they're like, maybe this is Trump's administration. That's why I was kind of leading. It's like, whoa, good on you for firing him. Why'd you hire him? You know, that kind of thing. So
I would like to know the numbers from the other services.
I know, right.
It's
Yeah, I
just
wonder.
interesting to see.
But the
what they're
Pentagon's so
comparable.
secretive on that stuff anyway. So.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get into it, I did want to say I was toying around with the idea. I ran across another VA article, but I was like, well, we bashed them like several weeks straight. But they did have, I think it was all from that inspection. They must have had an inspection because remember we talked about the government accountability offices where they have another one that they came out and they said the ADHD medication is not properly tracked.
Oh boy.
So they're saying they're giving that out like too willy-nilly. No. And it's really easy to get I don't know what it is. It's not Ritalin.
Ritalin? Or
Maybe
That's
it
part
is.
of it.
Maybe it is Ritalin.
I think it's part of it. Yeah.
But these inspectors were like,
new.
you guys are giving a lot of this out. And they're like, hey, that's up to the docs. And so they found that they're not tracking all the stuff that they're giving out, of course.
Oof.
Yeah.
No hand receipts there, baby.
Anyway, but I thought I'd lay off the VA. Of course, I just bashed them, but I'd lay off the VA. So, all right, gentlemen, I just noticed the last time we did a competition was in January, so it is quarterly competition
Oh,
time.
hey now.
All right.
Hey now.
And for you listeners and stuff, I did send them a study guide so they can try to make sense and good guesses. So we're going to do an auction game again.
Good
But
guess.
this
For the record,
time-
Eric read it. I glanced at the email in my inbox and promptly dismissed it.
Properly.
like most of the Martin Smith
Ow!
emails.
Marty? Oh, I'll open that 10 minutes before 8.
You know, I had toyed around with the idea of maybe I should tag this with a read receipt. And I'd be like, he never read it. That's okay. I got it. So
You'll notice that once I open up the conversation, then all of a sudden all my tabs would open up. I'm like, oh, I gotta follow along.
So let's see. I actually had to write this out so I say it the right way. All right, so we're gonna do an auction game again. But we're going to do military movie props auction. And this was a hell of a thing to put together. I had to make a fake account so I could see prices and stuff. Not a fake account, but I was like, you know how it is when you make an account just to see something and you're like, oh God, I'm going to get fucking emails forever from this thing. So,
kudos to your hard work, brother.
I thank you. All for your entertainment.
Hey.
I use primarily one site for this. I think there was one other thing that came up, but it's hard, man. It's hard to track down these things for military movie props, right? Oh, excuse me. So, what you're gonna do? You're gonna try to guess the winning bid. There's a range there, and I'll try to feed you some
Is
information.
it Price is Right rules where you can't go over, or is it? Just
You can go
closest
over,
to?
you can go under, because I am going to track how far off over or under you are from the price.
Right. All right.
So that difference in price will be added to your total. By the end of the game, the lowest total wins.
I like it.
All right.
We're getting highly technical here, brother.
Yeah. I'm trying. Yeah. trying to
Next
make
thing
it
you
a
know,
little
he'll have like a scrolling counter over here somewhere.
I
Jake
did
got
make
that.
I
Eric
did make
got
I did make a spreadsheet with formulas in it, so
Oh,
I don't have to. I know, right?
Nice.
All right, gentlemen, you ready?
Bring
And this
it
Marty,
on.
goes.
Did you ask the paperclip to help you out on that form?
I did not. I did not,
Oh, okay.
because the paperclip was like negative value, absolute value. What? I can't know what you're talking about. No, you son of a bitch. You piece of shit.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my
I think
God.
that was the chromosome from Jurassic Park. That was the voice.
That's dinosaur DNA.
Oh,
Yep.
my God.
Okay, I'll try to give you some hints, right? Now, there's a range on each one of these things.
Yep.
They're very rarely were they ever in the range. They were always above the range. But you got to derive from the descriptions how far above the range they were, right? Okay, so let's start it up. So the first item is War
Yeah.
Daddy's helmet from Fury.
Hey now.
All right.
That's a good one.
And this was a metal M1 helmet. All right. So this wasn't like a replica or anything like that. So this was the helmet that Brad Pitt wore.
Leather
All right.
strapping. Okay.
And the range was when they started the auction was between 3,000 to 6,000. Now, like I said, every one of these items is above the range. But how much above the range?
Oh,
All right.
man. I thought you were saying the range was it's in between. This is the range that it
No,
went for.
I know. I did balk
Oh.
at that, and I'm like, Jake's gonna be really mad at that because that's
I'm not
just
mad at
that's just a wild card now. It can be anything.
Yeah, that's freaking anything.
And on our last item, it is everything. It is anything.
Oh, this is going to get good.
Great.
All right, so War Daddy's Brad Pitt's helmet from Fury. All right,
That's a good one.
estimate 3,000 to 6,000. What do you think the winning bid was? Eric, you can
Eric.
go first on this one
All right.
since
Well,
you've studied.
I like the brown plastic insert.
And you get the
Nylon,
goggles
static,
with it too. Yeah, you
leather
get the goggles.
strapping.
Right, right.
It was intentionally distressed.
Oh,
Yes.
So could
Yes.
have been. So I'm thinking it's not going to be too much more. I'm going to go $6,800.
Oh, okay.
741. Purely on a whim.
Wait, so $741?
7,000.
Oh,
There we go.
7,041.
7,041.
All right.
Yep.
So the actual price or the winning bid was, oh, come on, $6,250. God damn it.
Definitely.
Marty
Marty was saying it was way over the estimate.
It was my whole description of it.
Well, that's
it
not
walked
bad
me
though.
through it.
Look at that. You were $550 away, Eric, and Jake. You were $791. That's not bad. All right. The next item is Kirk Lazarus's helmet, Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder,
Yeah.
And glasses, right?
and the glasses, and the
Oh,
dog
yeah.
tags, and the camel stick.
And that's a genuine helmet.
Yeah,
again,
and the
right?
Black Power written on the
Yeah.
side.
love
So, Robert Downey Jr.'s helmet from Tropic Thunder. The estimate was 3,000 to 6,000, or 3,800 to 6,000. So,
That's included.
Jake, you're first on this one.
It's kind of a comedy movie, right? So that's kind of
yeah. But
yeah, but I don't.
but
I mean,
his
I don't
role
know
was so
how that
iconic,
affected
though, right?
It was very iconic.
Wow, this
I'll
one's
go
tough.
6,852.
It's very exacting. I like it.
All right. So, because Robert Downey Jr. wore it, that's a little lower or higher than Brad Pitt. I'm not sure.
Oh,
You know what I
in
mean?
my top
The
10.
actor.
That's lower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
I'm gonna go 6,350.
It's not very much different than Jake's, but
No, I think it's going to be in that realm too.
all right. Robert Downey Jr.'s helmet from Tropic Thunder went for 10,118. I told you, don't be a slave to that estimate. $10,000 somebody paid for Robert Downey Jr.'s helmet.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
Well, that's because I
you
get
guys
it.
Pretty cool though.
Yeah,
You
I
guys
get
are
it.
still pretty close. And, it was
yeah,
funny. I was watching those reaction videos, and they had somebody did a big compilation just to that scene where he's talking to Ben Stiller about going full retard.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen that scene in a long time. And he said retard so many times. It was
It's
hilarious.
so good.
Right? And he was like, Sean Penn, so Sam, full retard. Got nothing
Full
to be up
retard.
Academy Awards. Like, God, it was so funny. All right, next item.
Wow.
Ooh.
Private James Ryan's helmet from Saving Private Ryan.
So
All right.
Damon.
Now, this one, it's just a fiberglass exterior, but it is the one they used in the movie, or they've used it at certain points in the movie. The estimate is $7,500 to $10,000. $10,000.
The movie was iconic. Matt Damon wore it, so I get that part.
Yeah.
That's pretty big. Plus, wasn't he part of Easy Company too from the Band of Brothers?
He was, and that spade was
So
iconic for that,
Easy
right?
Company.
And they had different views, and they had the orange in the back, and all the right markings for Band of Brothers. Yeah.
I'm gonna go. 13,500.
13,500. Okay. Jake.
12,608.
That eight's gonna put you over the top.
All right. Bold move, Cotton.
Hmm.
Let's see. Private Ryan's helmet sold for $14,229.
Wow.
That 8 got me.
Oh yeah. Let's see. So Eric's got a little bit of a lead of
always
about
gotta jump on me.
$1,000 on you. So, but don't worry, we're moving into the medal rounds here. These ones they're gonna piss you off for one because you're like,
I'm pretty sure I got smashed at this game last time we played it. Didn't
You
I?
did.
yeah, I
You did.
think
nice.
Teapot actually did better than you on this.
Yeah. Nice.
All right, next one.
Oh,
Painless. The minigun from Predator. All right. Now, the important thing to note, they have an estimate here of 2,000 to 4,000. It doesn't shoot, but it is a titanium replica, complete with electronics that spin those barrels. So it's a full-size thing, because you can see down the bottom contains electronics and electronic devices. So they worked it all up. Now it doesn't fire, but it's a working model of Old Painless that Jesse Ventura
Old
carried.
Painless.
so are we more in the 5 digits area?
Do
or?
not be suckered in by that estimate 2,000 to 4,000.
Oh,
Yes, it's 5 digits. Well, close to 5 digits.
What the hell?
I just
What the
screwed you into
hell?
that one.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. You still got to. I mean, with your crazy dollar amount bidding, you never know what's
Yeah.
going to happen. But it is your bid, Jake.
Oh, I'm going 9,418.
Jeez. It's like writing a check when somebody says a number. You're just trying to write the number out, and I'm like, oh, good. How do I
8.
write that?
I'm gonna start doing it like 94, 1, 86.
When was the last time you wrote a check? I wrote a check the other day because I can't transfer to this other bank, and I jacked it all up. I had to void it, and I was like, oh, God,
No.
I totally screwed the number up.
Nice.
What do you got, Eric?
Oh man, so close to 5 digits. It's going to be 9,995.
Oh,
that sounds like a lotto pick kind of thing.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, I did give this one away. So the winning bid was 9,375.
Jake, I think rocked that one.
Well, you got it a little bit closer to you on that
Yeah.
one. So, holy shit! Look, you want to know what the totals are after 4 items? Eric,
yeah.
you have 11,085, and Jake, you have 11,360.
Hey,
I know.
that's close.
All right, no more hints. No more hints on this.
Come
Right?
on, Marty. I'll trick you into it.
Saving Private
okay.
Ryan,
Let's get the
Captain Miller's
Tommy
Thompson
gun.
submachine gun. Now you got to read this description. All right, the estimate. I don't think it shoots. They disabled it somehow. Probably took the bolt out. But the estimate is 7,500 to 10,000 for Captain Miller's Thompson submachine gun. However, it's the real thing that he carried, and you can read in that description.
That's Tom Hanks, right?
Right. Tom Hanks selected that one out of the costume department, labeled it as A13, wrote it on the stock. So it's all replica stuff, except
Okay.
it doesn't shoot, right?
There is scratching and scuffing all over the weapon, most notably on the wooden section.
Yeah, to make it real.
Distressed. I think this is going to go for quite a bit, man.
Yeah, you're up, Eric.
I think. Whew. Let's go 14,008. 14,800.
Okay, 14,800.
I should have just said 15, but 14,8's close.
Well, you never know, though. Yeah, I mean, you're usually really good at these, Eric.
Yeah, is it
You're
higher or
leading right
lower
now,
than
so
yours?
you know. What do you think, Jake?
I'm going 15,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Should have stuck with my gut.
15,500.
15,500. Oh, 01.
Oh, what?
Oh,
All right.
508.
The winning bid of Captain Miller's Thompson submachine gun was $20,000. $20,553.
wow. I wouldn't have thought that
Dang.
much.
I know.
Holy shit.
Now remember, these last these last few items are going to go way beyond what you think they're
Okay.
going to be.
Good.
Jake, he made a little run there.
I think he took over.
Now you're at 27,303, Eric. Jake, you're at 27,730. So
Close.
a little less than
Catching up to you.
$400.
Okay.
All right. Sergeant John J. Rambo and his knife, his survival knife. But
44K?
Are
look
you
at but
serious?
if you read the description, this legendary knife maker, Jimmy Lyle, right? Really made this knife. So it's and you know how knives are overpriced anyway. I mean, if you want a quality knife, go get a Benchmade knife. You ever look at the price of a Benchmade?
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
well, that's $200 more than I would ever pay for a knife. So this is a real knife maker, made this thing for his second movie, where he got let out of prison to go get the Vietnam vets back.
Is believed to be the lowest number ever offered public sale. I'll be damned.
Yeah.
Sharpened
So the
stone.
estimate of Rambo's First Blood Part 2 survival knife is $31,000 to $44,000. All right.
Woo!
So let that weigh into your decision.
Stallone.
You
Big
are
guy.
It's a good looking knife, though. I mean, as knives go.
I'm about to lose
And
big
it has
on this
the
one.
it has the compass and everything in the hilt. You know,
Yeah,
it
the
has all that
sharpening
stuff.
stone.
Right.
63,425.
Okay.
Eric, he didn't balk at the size of that number. So that
No,
makes,
he didn't.
Well, no, don't take my
No,
reaction.
he didn't.
No, I'm trying to poker face it over here. So
You said 68?
63.
63.
you got to make your own mind up, Eric. You can't base it on that. Well,
You gotta go
I guess
higher
you
or
can't go
lower.
in
You
second.
think it's
Yeah,
worth
I guess
more or less?
I'm going to say more. I'm going to go 66,000 even.
Some bold swinging for the fences, but I like it. Right? Rambo First Blood Part 2 survival knife sold for $55,337. $55,000 for that knife.
I got smoked again. I thought there were more.
All right, we're going into our last item, and the score. Oh,
He's got me by a lot now.
let's see. The score is
Oh,
not
we're
much. 59,516 for Eric. 58,495. So just about $1,000. Now
Wow.
I am going
That's
to give
easily
you.
blown out here.
I'm going to give you a heads up on this last item. It is way, way over. All right, the estimate.
Oh.
Maverick Mitchell's fighter pilot helmet. Now,
Pete Mitchell.
if you read that description, this isn't like a plastic recreation. This is a real helmet.
This is the real one.
This is the real real deal, like down to the metal and the glass and everything else, with the oxygen mask attached to it.
Oh no shit.
And the classic Maverick across the top. It's got the Judas Priest symbol on the side, and it's got all the markings. Right? This
is the original Top Gun too.
authentic. Yeah. Now, the estimate that the auction house put out was $50,000 to $70,000,
Unbelievable, man.
and I am telling you, fair warning, it is six figures. All right. I'll just tell you,
All
it's six figures.
The paint job, the fact that it's real, Tom Cruise.
So
man,
iconic, right?
I'm going $125,000.
That is six figures. 125. Jake?
Look at
126.
the price is right.
Did that pay off?
It was a gamble on whether it's more or less than
And
Right.
it's stay
what
close.
Eric said. That's all. It's a 50-50 shot. I don't have to pick the number. I just have to bet off
That's
Eric.
right. Yeah. Now you're playing. You're playing what you're behind at. Pete Maverick Mitchell's fighter pilot helmet from Top Gun sold for $325,000.
Holy shit.
More than $250,000.
Who
Somebody
does that?
bought that helmet.
Who does that, man?
I don't know.
325?
$325,000.
No way. And it was estimated to go for 70.
Yeah,
Oh,
that is absolutely.
Whoever did
insane.
that starting bid place probably got a scolding for that.
oh my
shit
God.
job
Well,
at
and
estimating.
I don't know. It could be a couple of billionaires like battling it out, and it was like, oh yeah, 100, 125, and they just go. And like, my God.
Never in
So
a million years, 325.
when I saw that, I was like, oh my God,
man,
Wow.
oh,
I thought 125. Eric, I was going to make a 125 some bullshit. And then I was like, oh, Eric's first.
All right, final totals. Eric Perrott, 308,369. Jake Wall, 307,902. That last extra $1,000
only
is
off.
what that pulled you in, because you were what, you were $800 apart, you guys.
Hey,
uh,
I have a job in VA accounting office.
No, I'm
right
sorry,
now.
you were less
I
than
was-
$500.
I was only off by 300,000. Pretty good.
that's right.
apart. You're showing
VA
improvement.
accounting. Here I come.
Oh,
Your resume is solved right there,
Solved.
man. Bring it in, brother.
GS12 has got you written all over, baby.
Holy cow.
You might come in there and be the star player, and they're like, "Who's this? Who's this accounting
This
guru?"
guy.
His numbers are so close.
I'm just like, how much did we pay? How much do we get? Those don't match.
But they're closer than they were last year, so
You're hired.
they did
Only
a
off
good
by
job.
300,000.
They did a good job.
Man, that was good, but it was difficult. That was
I know,
That was a
and
tough one, man.
I
I
was
did
like,
not
I
like
gotta
going
give
first.
clues, because you couldn't just blindly bid on this thing.
that
so.
was difficult.
Especially that Maverick helmet. I was like, somebody spent $325,000
No
on
way,
that
man.
helmet. That's, I mean, would love to have that money, right? I'd love to have that. So.
Crazy money. Whew.
Anyway, that was fun.
Probably some bullshit YouTube podcaster.
Not this one.
You don't see that hanging up on the closet.
Yeah, not all three of us together. You kidding
If I
me?
ever bought that, I would answer the podcast in that.
I would never want to see you in anything. If I ever saw you ride your motorcycle, you'd have to ride with that. You'd have
Oh.
to.
Maverick helmet
It would have to
Yep.
ride in your car. It
Oh,
would
yeah.
have to be everywhere.
Everywhere.
on the
Yeah.
dashboard underneath
Yeah.
the mirror,
Yeah.
hanging on
It's
your mirror.
falling off and shit. Like,
You almost.
reaching and crashing almost.
Oh, man,
You
that's
almost
awesome.
would have to buy a dummy, and he would just have to
I'm never coming.
ride with you. He'd have to drive with you.
Put him in a
Fucking
bag.
goose.
Put him in a flight suit.
Goose it
bag.
up, buddy.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
320.
I'd have to ride with him for years, and then one day, God,
But even that
Crazy.
Rambo knife was 55 grand.
Yeah,
That's
outrageous.
crazy.
55 grand. That's my unsecured debt right now. Was that Rambo knife? I mean, Jesus. I'm trying to pay off. Holy shit.
Oh my
And
goodness.
and come to think of it, I think that's what I got left on my house payment is the Maverick helmet.
That's
I could pay my house off if I had that Maverick helmet. Holy shit.
yeah, you could.
Oh,
Nice, dude.
Man.
Eric, take us home with military history.
Oh yeah, man.
Quick tonight, but it's historical, guys. I'll make this
No,
real
that's
quick.
what it should be.
Yeah, man. On this day, Confederate Robert E. Lee agreed to surrender his army of Northern Virginia,
Whoa.
making a symbolic end to the Civil War on April 9th, 1865. Good Lord.
Was that the Appomattox thing? or-
Yep. The
Oh,
overall
wow.
Confederate surrender took place in stages over the following 2 months,
Yeah.
with the other Confederate armies reaching surrender agreements after Lee met with Union General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Court House.
Huh.
But the loss of Lee and the Army of Northern Virginia was a fatal blow to the Confederacy. Lee's troops had been besieged by Grant's forces at Pittsburgh and Richmond for about a 10-month period starting in June of 1864. Lee used his considerable experience as a combat engineer to help his troop dig trenches to slow the Union advance.
That's right.
But on April 1st, 1865, Union forces led by Sheridan, General Philip Sheridan, took a critical transportation link at Five Forks, and Grant broke through the Pittsburgh defenses the following day. Lee and the Army of Northern Virginia withdrew to the southwest, harried by Grant's forces, were harried and harassed by Grant's forces. On 6 April, about a quarter of Lee's army surrendered after it was cut off from Lee and surrounded by Union forces. That's when the
Hey,
next
Bobby
day,
Lee, where you going? Hey, Bobby Lee. You
Lee
running
and Grant
away?
started corresponding about a possible surrender, and on the 9th, it happened.
Hey, stop harassing me, Dick.
There was,
Very good. So he
Yeah.
surrendered his army on the April.
Now-
9th, right?
battles continued to occur about 2 to 3 months. Once
Right.
communications, but
Kept going.
yeah,
Well, you know who didn't surrender? Josie Wales.
outlaw
He didn't
Josie Rails, the Red Legs are
That's
coming
right.
for you, boy.
Yeah, he didn't surrender.
Yeah, that's
To
cool.
Captain Redleg,
Captain Red Legs.
sliced him up.
He said, "Dying ain't much of a living, boy." Yeah,
Who was
that's a badass movie, man. I love that
Oh,
movie.
man.
and
I haven't seen that
then
movie in a long
Fletcher
time.
Fletcher agreed to not
Yeah.
look for him anymore, right? He was
Yeah.
like, I think he's
I'm
dead.
done with it. Yeah.
All right. Just like the South Forces, we are NDEP. So they were NDEP
NDEP.
on April 9th. We are NDEP on April 9th for April 10th.
Woo.
Good show, guys. That was a good
Yeah, I like
competition
it.
there, man. So, on behalf of all of us here, I'd like to thank you for listening today. Please like, share, and subscribe, and let us know how we did in the comments, except for Crystal Respecki, because she's going to insult us. So,
No
make
ring
sure
idea.
next week that you are not late for changeover.
Hold up.
I know. I
Eric,
think we should all
make
commit.
sure to apply plenty of SPF 50 on all round things that are
Oh, that's
exposed.
right.
Yeah.
You're going down to the desert next week.
Yeah.
right?
I'm got to cut this mess off too. It's a Q-tip looking thing going on right now. So,
Well, it's
All right,
fuzzy.
Bob Marley.
It's not like you
Looking like a
can't
hippie
grow
over
it up there.
oh no, it's not growing right in here, man. That's all bald.
That's all right.
It's all bald.
It's good enough. You put a bucket hat on, you'll be all right.
It's a
Play
Q-tip,
golf.
brother. I can't
Where are you
handle
pl-
it.
Where are you playing golf at next week?
It's called Estrella. It's right outside of Scottsdale.
Is it a
Oh.
PGA course?
No, I don't think so. It's a nice course, but I don't think it's a PGA.
I remember
I'm
when
not that good.
when we stationed in Hawaii, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to go play this PGA course?" And I was like, "I don't need to pay $200 to be as sucky as I am on
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
post
on a
course."
gorgeous
And
course.
losing all my golf balls, right? No. So there's two foursomes that'll play, men and the women. So we've got some couples going with us. We get done.
Nice. Have
Yeah,
fun.
That place,
Yeah.
that place looks pretty though, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It's beautiful.
Well, then
that
send
way.
us an update, all right? So we
Okay.
can play it on
Yeah.
next week, right?
I'll do it. Yeah, this
Well,
place.
you're just
Marty,
in
I'll-
Arizona. You could call in. You could call in for a short amount of time.
Yeah, maybe
We've
I
never
will.
done a call in, so
Okay, I can do that.
all right.
We'll do it.
Jeez, what a progress! He read the whole email today, and he's going to call in next week. Holy shit!
I'll do it from inside the swimming pool because it's going to be.
Marty,
pretty
I would
hot.
like to be called out for my progress.
Your progress.
I actively Googled some random bullshit from Eric rather than look up some important information from you.
Was there
there
something?
we go.
Was there something in the chat? I didn't see anything in the chat.
Nope. I just looked up the Australia Golf Course. So I was like, "Oh, that is gorgeous. Oh,
That's
nice.
pretty.
Okay."
Yeah.
Come you
Marty's over
didn't
here
send that?
wondering
Oh,
about
I
some
got
bullshit
you.
during a meeting.
That's true. That's true.
Oh shit!
Well, man, thanks for the week, and I'll see Jake next week.
Right on.
Eric, have a good
Hey,
trip.
Eric.
All right, fellas.
All right.
You guys take it easy. We'll see you soon.